Well, good morning, everyone. It's a bit of a cloudy morning here in Zion. And originally, I was going to head to the area where I was yesterday. But to photograph those areas, I really would need to have some nice sunny skies with some reflected light. Otherwise, the light is just a little bit more flat. So I figure today, since it's going to be cloudy pretty much all day, will be a day of exploring and also potentially setting up my game cam. Now that I know where the mountain lions are very active, I found a couple trees yesterday I think I can attach it to, and it's far away from where people normally go, but it'll be interesting to see if I can catch something, because that's been a long-term goal of mine. But with the pressure of having to take photos, lifted from my shoulders a little bit, gives a little more flexibility just to wander around, to explore. And also, tomorrow is probably going to be similar as well. A fair amount of clouds in the sky. The day after that, rain. But after that, it should be clear. And I'm really looking forward to the time when the maple leaves start falling from the trees and start to have some really nice maple litter on the ground to photograph. I'm just enjoying my wander here and see if anything catches my eye. One of the reasons I love Return to Design each fall is that there's so many changes that happen each year. The fall color may vary a little bit from year to year, and then down in the washes, when there are some summer monsoons, these massive flash floods will rearrange things. And so this huge log back behind me, this is a ponderosa. This huge log used to be across the wash back over there. It just shows the power of these floods as they just rage through these canyons and carve everything out. And so now that that log has been moved, there's a whole different view up there, which is really cool to see. So it really is fascinating just to revisit these places and to witness these changes, because it does create new opportunities, and definitely one of the things that keeps me coming back year after year. So here's a mountain lion track with my hand and foot for scale there. So, pretty good sized critter there. Well, it's going on 4 p.m. now, and it hasn't been a terribly exciting day, but after 7 days in the field, sometimes it's nice just to relax a little bit. And the fact that it's been cloudy for much of the day really encourages that. But around midday, I did go over to Mountain Lion Mesa, and I set up my game cam over there. So I'll leave that there for a few days and see what it manages to capture. And there was a moment, probably around 1 p.m. or so, when there was some decent light on one particularly really beautiful maple. I exposed a single sheet of Provia 100 on that scene. So it wasn't full on reflected light, but it was a nice soft diffused light. But now I returned to an area where I was a few days ago. I figured it's a little higher elevation, so I'm curious if there's much leaf litter on the ground. And there is a little bit in some areas, but by and large, a lot of the leaves are still staying on the trees. Now, as the storm rolls through in the coming days, hopefully that will encourage some of the leaves to fall, because I really love the potential with all the leaf litter on the ground, especially in the washes. There's a little bit of it back through here, but give it a few days and a lot of these leaves are going to be falling off. As far as tomorrow, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. I guess it all really depends on the weather. And I think it's supposed to be perhaps a little more cloudy than it was today. But I'll have to follow the weather report to figure out what to do. But as always, an absolutely beautiful day here in Zion. and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Well, good morning, everyone. I came to an area where I was not far from yesterday afternoon. And all these trees here, they were very green just a few days ago. So it's quite impressive how fast the fall color here is changing. The skies overhead are quite blue at the moment. A little bit of clouds. And there's going to be a window of blue sky in the morning. And then it's going to cloud up to be mostly cloudy by the afternoon. So if I do find something as I'm just out scouting here, I can run back to my truck and grab my camera. Some of the leaves are starting to fall, not a lot, just a little bit. And that's really what I'm hoping for. Now, tomorrow is when the rain's going to come in. And it's going to come in the evening and overnight. And then after that, things will clear up quite a bit. So I'm hoping that the storm is going to help to revamp the washes here, as well as drop some leaves and make for some very interesting opportunities on the ground. But I figured I'd just go out for a little wander right now with no real expectations. And that's the sort of mindset that comes later in a trip when I've already shot some photos, and I'm just very happy to be here and very excited at what I'm going to find today. I'll probably also revisit a few other locations I've photographed in years past. I just love seeing how things change from year to year. It gives a whole new perspective of a place like Zion. So let's see what I find. Well, I've come to an area where I photographed this neat little ash tree last year. It might be hard to see, but it's right up there. It's a tiny little tree there. And one of the things I love about revisiting locations is you get a whole new perspective on how things change. And this year, that tree has way less leaves than last year. There's this lower branch that hangs down that basically has no leaves on it right now. And the leaves that are there are very, very small. And I hope it's doing pretty well. But it definitely shows how things can change so much from year to year. And so it's one of the reasons it keeps me coming back again and again, because opportunities that exist one year may not be the same the next year. So one of the really fascinating things about revisiting a location. So I found a pretty interesting scene. So I went back to my truck, grabbed my camera, and I set it up here with my normal lens. And I'm aiming the camera upward. We'll see if I can get you to see what we're looking at here. There's this beautiful ponderosa pine, which is shrouded in some yellow maples there in the foreground. Then way off in the background, there are some evergreens there, and then there's a wall of sandstone. And so I set up a horizontal composition of the scene. And it's really calm right now. The skies are a little bit on the milky side, but since the camera is angled upward, all those leaves are backlit. And also, I think it helps to even out the higher contrast of the scene by filling in some of the shadows a little bit, which might actually help out a little bit because I'm working with slide film here. I exposed 2 sheets of Provia 100F, and I took a photo in this canyon a couple years ago, and I shot both Belvia and Provia, and I found that Provia did better, so I might be gonna bother shooting Belvia on this one. But it's great to find a subject, and really looking forward to seeing if I can find anything else in this canyon, because even though the milky skies are not great for reflected light, it does work very well for these sort of scenes where I'm angling upward. And the fall color in this canyon right now is just absolutely perfect. So get the camera packed up and see if I can find anything else to point my camera at. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday was an interesting day. After shooting that photo in the Slot Canyon, the skies got really cloudy, very overcast, and I just took that as an opportunity to cover a lot of ground. And actually, I left my video kit behind. I just ran around with my cell phone and did a lot of scrambling, and in the process of doing so, I found a very interesting area that has a tremendous view, which has very nice light in the afternoon and does very well with clouds. And I know that because it was absolutely beautiful when I went there yesterday. And I didn't have my camera with me, but had I had my 8x10, I definitely would have gotten a pretty awesome photo. But that being said, it's quite a scramble. So I'll just keep that in mind for future times when there's some nice clouds in the sky in the afternoon. But while I was scrambling around, I found a lovely red maple. So I'm gonna head over there to photograph that. And right now the skies are blue, but that is gonna change. Pretty soon it's gonna get windy, and it's gonna get cloudy, and tonight there's gonna be a pretty good amount of rain. And that is fantastic because it will rework all the washes here. And maybe in addition to that, some of the leaves will start to fall. And I'm really looking forward to photographing some stuff on the ground. But since I have a very narrow window of sunny skies before the wind and the clouds show up, I'm gonna head over to that red maple, see if I can get a composition on it. And even though it won't be reflected light, it won't be windy. So that's good. But let's head over there and see if I can get a composition on this beautiful tree. So I just exposed a single sheet of Provia 100F using a warming filter of the scene you see behind me here. So I found this when I was scrambling around yesterday. I just love this barren branch out in front of the red maple. And then there's another branch that swoops down from the upper left corner. And it provides a nice sense of contrast, and also I think gives a little bit of a sense of story, because you have all this lush foliage back behind it, and then you have these very light colored grasping type branches. So I think it's just that contrast of color, texture, and also shape. So I'll probably do a sheet of Velvia on this as well. I'm never going to be in full-on reflected light in the morning. In the afternoon, eventually the sun will shift there. The slope behind me will be in light, and it'll shoot there. But by then, it's going to be really windy. It's going to be really cloudy. So I'm going to go ahead and expose a sheet of Velvia before this scene drops into harsh sunlight, and then wander around and see if I can find... I think there's another subject around the corner, but we'll see if the light's pretty good on that one. But it feels pretty good to expose one sheet, and let's get this other Velvia sheet exposed before this is in harsh light. So this is the second location here, and I went ahead and set up a composition with my 240mm lens of this really cool maple here. It's peeking out from behind the sandstone. And the wind is absolutely calm right now, a little bit of reflected light. And even though the wind's calm, there's actually some leaves falling off right now, so I don't think they're going to stick around much longer. But I exposed a sheet of Provia 100F and also Velvia 50, and it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. It's a little bit experimental, but looking forward to seeing the film on this one. But I've shot most of my film for what I have with me right now, so I should probably head back to my truck, a little bit of film, and then see if I can find anything else while the skies stay blue. So I spent the last 2.5 hours or so back at my truck loading film. And in that time, the sky went from mostly sunny to mostly cloudy. And the wind is picking up now. So the wonderful light and calm conditions this morning didn't last very long. So I'm very glad I was able to set up compositions and expose some film on both of those scenes. Now I think I'm just going to wander around a little bit, do a little exploring. The wind is going through the pine trees now. Hear the birds doing bird things. I'm just gonna scout a little bit more and see if I can find some other subjects for, if not this trip, maybe then other trips. But these are some of my favorite times of these photography trips. Just wandering without any set agenda and trying to be open to everything around me. Looking forward to when the storm rolls in. So my little wander here turned into something a little bit more significant. I started climbing up the sandstone and eventually found a way to the top of this massive sandstone formation. And the geology up here is pretty impressive. All the sandstone stacked up there with some capstones on it. Massive cliffs. And amazing views in every direction. A little windy up here. And you can tell that not many people make it up here. I found a couple of footprints, but that was about it. Clouds are rolling in. And I think within next few hours or so, we're supposed to start getting some rain. So I'm just enjoying my time here. And it's pretty awesome to have such clear, calm conditions this morning before the clouds showed up. And allowed me to do some long exposures. And hopefully those photos turned out pretty decent. But now I'm just enjoying myself, enjoying the invigorating breeze. And I'll probably head down pretty soon. I don't want to be up here if it starts raining because a little tricky getting back down. But absolutely beautiful. Check this view out. Absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the reasons I love Zion. So much cool stuff everywhere.
Life has a strange way of giving us what we truly need, even if it isn't what we had in mind. The soaking rain was ushered by intense wind, blowing many of the leaves from the trees, only to be swept downstream by flowing water. Although I had hoped to take some photos that morning, I simply wandered the washes instead, filling my lungs with the scent of fresh rain while enjoying the sound of the flowing water. My experience that morning was one of both awe and appreciation, and in many ways, it was just like a visit from the good old days. That's the funny thing about expectations. The more we hope to achieve on a trip, the less successful we can be. Even though the weather wasn't ideal on this visit, I made the most of the conditions and captured a collection of photographs I'm incredibly proud of. I walked away with 7 new images in my portfolio, compared to just 2 on last year's visit. After all, it is just a matter of perspective. Of the scenes I photographed on those last several days, most fell short for one reason or another. The photograph of the maple drape ponderosa suffers flat light, and the same is true for the photo of the large yellow maple tree. Although I do like the photo of the tree in the slot canyon, there's wind movement in the leaves, and I know I can do better with this scene in the future. I am, however, satisfied with the photo of the final red maple. I love the movement within this composition, and how the stark branches contrast so nicely with the vibrant foliage. I checked up on this tree the morning after the storm, and found it stripped bare of its leaves. They were knocked loose by the wind, and swept downstream by the flowing water. Oh, and I'm sure some of you might be wondering, whatever happened to that fork? Well, let's just say it'll be waiting for me when I return, perhaps buried under a fresh layer of snow. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you around next time. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution of just $24 a year helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. For more information on how to support me and my work, please visit the donation section of my website at benhorn.com/donate. I also have prints in my portfolio box set available on my website. You can find a direct link down below in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support.